This is a true story. In October 1696, a young woman named Zona Heaster, just 23 years old, was sent out of town on errands by her mother, Mary Jane Heaster. Little did Mary Jane know, this simple trip would set off a chilling chain of events, ones that would lead to betrayal, death, and a ghostly revelation that would shock the entire town. While in town, Zona crossed paths with Edward Erasmus Shue, a 37-year-old blacksmith. Their attraction was instant, an intense spark that neither could ignore. Before long, they were deeply in love, making plans to marry. But Mary Jane was vehemently against it. Erasmus was far older, and there was something about him, something dark, that unsettled her. But Zona refused to listen. She was in love, and nothing would change her mind. So despite her mother's objections, Zona and Erasmus married and moved into a small one-story house near his blacksmith shop. 3 months later, Zona became pregnant. But her pregnancy was fraught with complications. She grew weaker by the day, requiring constant visits from the town doctor, George Knapp. Then came January 23rd, the day everything changed. Erasmus, busy in his shop, planned to leave early to care for his wife. But a last-minute order for horseshoes delayed him. Annoyed but needing the money, he decided to stay late. Instead of going himself, he sent an 11-year-old neighbor boy, Andy Jones, to check on Zona. Andy did as he was told. He knocked on the door. No answer. He called Zona's name. Silence. Something wasn't right. He hesitated, then slowly pushed the door open. Inside, the house was dark and cold. No fire in the chimney, no candlelight. An eerie stillness filled the air. A chill crawled down his spine as he called out again. Nothing. Nervous, Andy climbed the stairs. As he reached the top step, his breath caught in his throat. Zona was lying at the foot of the staircase, motionless, lifeless. Terror seized him. He ran out of the house, screaming for help. His mother rushed to him, and when she heard what he had seen, she sent for the doctor and ran to find Erasmus. By the time Dr. Knapp arrived an hour later, something strange had happened. The neighbors gathered in horror as they discovered that Erasmus had already moved Zona's body, dressing her in a high-necked dress with a stiff collar, laying her head in his lap, and stroking her hair over and over, tears streaming down his face. The doctor attempted to examine the body, but Erasmus refused to move. He clung to Zona, sobbing uncontrollably, blocking any attempt to properly inspect her. Officially, her death was ruled as natural causes. But one person didn't believe it. Mary Jane Heaster. During the burial, while others mourned, Mary Jane stood eerily still, her eyes locked on Erasmus with a gaze of pure hatred. She knew something was terribly wrong. After the funeral, Mary Jane disappeared into her house. That's when the rumors started. Every night, candles flickered in her window as she paced, whispering under her breath. People thought grief had driven her mad. Some even wondered if she had played a role in Zona's death. But Mary Jane had a different mission. She was praying. Night after night, she prayed for Zona's ghost to appear, to reveal the truth about her death. And then, after weeks of silence, it happened. One night, a blinding light filled her room, so bright it forced her to shield her eyes. Then, just as suddenly, it vanished. Had it been Zona? Was she trying to tell her something? The lights returned, appearing night after night, growing stronger, lasting longer. And then, one fateful night, the light did not fade. A figure stepped out. Zona. Her face was pale, her hair hung limply over her shoulders, and her eyes, they were black, as dark as death itself. Mary Jane was frozen in fear. She had wanted this moment, prayed for it, yet now she felt terror unlike anything she had ever known. Then Zona spoke. Her voice was hollow, filled with sorrow and rage. "Mother, you were right." Mary Jane's breath hitched. "Erasmus killed me." She went on to reveal the horrors she had suffered. Erasmus had been violent, cruel, controlling. He flew into fits of rage over the smallest things. On the night of her death, she had cooked the wrong meal. There was no meat. Erasmus snapped. Zona gasped as she clutched her throat. Dirt poured from her mouth as if she were reliving her final moments. Then, before Mary Jane's horrified eyes, Zona's neck twisted, slowly, gruesomely, until her face was completely turned backward. She hovered, her contorted body inches above the ground. Then, in a whisper, she said, "Now you know." And with that, she vanished. Mary Jane wasted no time. The next morning, she marched straight into the prosecutor's office. At first, no one believed her. They thought grief had driven her mad. But then, she said something that changed everything. She described in haunting detail how Erasmus had strangled Zona, how her windpipe had been crushed, how her head had been twisted unnaturally. The prosecutor's face paled. He left his office immediately and sought out Dr. Knapp. When he told the doctor what Mary Jane had revealed, the doctor froze. Because during his examination, though Erasmus had refused to let him get close, he had noticed something unsettling about Zona's neck. It was enough to order her body to be exhumed. Despite the bitter cold of winter, Zona was dug up, and the truth was laid bare. Her throat had been crushed. Fingerprints were found on her neck. Her windpipe was completely broken. Just as Zona's ghost had said, Erasmus was immediately arrested. His past was uncovered. His first wife had left him due to his violent temper. His second wife had mysteriously died, supposedly crushed by a falling brick while they were building a chimney. Now, the town knew. Erasmus was a killer. At trial, Zona's testimony from beyond the grave became key evidence. Erasmus was found guilty of murder and sentenced to life in prison. But justice didn't end there. 3 years into his sentence, Erasmus died, under mysterious circumstances. To this day, no one knows how or why. Some say Zona got her revenge. Today, in West Virginia, Zona's grave still stands as a tourist attraction, with an eerie inscription. Her spirit appeared to her mother and revealed the truth. And so, Zona Heaster became the only known ghost in history to solve her own murder. But tell me, do you believe it? If this story sent chills down your spine, don't forget to like, share, and follow for more. See you next time, and bye for now.